Testing, hot outbound call. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Are you ready?
I'm all ready.
You on here? Come on, let's go inside and get started.
Dusty out in that hall?
Hey, get a load of butts over there.
Oh, would I like to melt you just once? Dusty out in that hall?
What's my temperature, Norton? 111. Oh, come on, let's get moving. Isn't there any lot here?
Yeah, about 300 pounds.
A 20% percentage.
And now, who is our next guest, please? Herb, here's our next guest.
Ed Norton. Ha ha! Watch this.
The Honeymooners Podcast, the only podcast that is all about the greatest show of all time. With the stars, Joe Conti and Louis Fatts.
If they ever institute a Nut of the Month Club, I've got a very good idea who's going to be January and February.
Welcome, fellow raccoons and members of the Women's Auxiliary. What's happening, all you hurricanes, Bensonhurst bombers, and all you Mixer Pecks and Tebbets of the world? You're listening to the Honeymooners Podcast with me, Joe Conti, and my pal Louis Fatts.
Well, I hope so. My goodness. A little food is the least you can get out of marriage. Oh, by the way, guess who I saw today?
Who?
Chester Barnes. You remember Chester, that nice boy that was so crazy about you?
Who? How was my thing? Good?
Your who was good.
I did good, yeah.
Like, you were like Horton.
Yeah,
Horton, here's a who.
He was on first.
Yeah.
The only podcast all about the greatest show of all time. We record in the Non-Productive Studios at 328 Chauncey Street in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, also known as Clifton, New Jersey. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcast. And if you're on iTunes, give us a 5-star rating and leave a positive review because we will read them. And if you don't do the podcast thing, you can send if you have like friends, maybe some older relatives, and they don't do the podcast, just send them to non-productive.com/honeymooners, and you can hear all of the episodes right on there. Don't forget to like our Honeymooners Podcast Facebook page, follow us on Twitter at Honeymooner1, and support us through Patreon.
Yes.
And that's something that I want to ask you guys, and I'll do it real quick. Mm-hmm. Anybody have any ideas of what we can do for the special guys that actually do a little Patreon? Send us an email of what you think we could do to maybe entice people, to give them something. Yeah, a little special. Give them maybe
something new and different.
Something new and different, exactly. So email us, and if you want to leave us a voicemail, call 240-442-2635. And if you want to email us for that or any other reasons, if you have an item for us.
Here's an item.
Here's an item. Yeah, here's an item. It's honeymooners.podcast@AOL.com. You know what's great about AOL, Lou?
What?
Aren't they ancient?
No, that's what it does. It makes us ancient, yes. What's going on, Lou?
Joe, 106.
Yeah, we are at 106.
106.
We're getting close to the 111, which we still haven't figured out what we're going to do about 111.
Special.
Got to do something special.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, that's a big number.
Big number.
I think we talked about one time those numbers that have significance.
Yep. 39 was
39,
one. Yeah. Are there any other numbers?
111.
111.
75.
Like there's 75.
Hanging around there,
62.
62.
See, if we weren't thinking about those when we were doing them. 62 should have been something
we missed out on. 3. We missed out on that one.
Yeah, exactly.
We didn't know what the heck we were doing during 3 anyway.
Yeah, I know, exactly. Thank God, even everybody agrees with that.
Yeah, really.
That,
even people would tell you to watch it. They said start at 14.
Yeah, even the Bibs and the Iras and all that be like, they're great. Start at about 14. Yeah. Look at me, I'm 14.
The 14-year-old killed Alice.
So
none of this inane
but
silliness.
106.
106.
All right. And first, though, before we even get started, right, we have to talk about our phenomenal hot sauce.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
It's our great sponsor.
That's right.
And it's
That's
Silk
right.
City Hot Sauce. All right. So what you do is you go to silkcityhotsauce.com. Get yourself some of the best hot sauce on the planet.
Yes.
With some of the weirdest names you'll ever see on bottles of hot sauce. All right. Like Badass Jew. All right.
Who's that?
Slurp, Mango Madness. Then, of course, there's Honey Hot.
Honey.
Why do I can't
Honey
get
habanero
hot
sauce.
honey habanero hot sauce, which is our hot sauce.
That's ours. That's ours.
It's as you called it. It's a it's almost like a novelty item or
Collector's item.
Collector's item.
Yeah.
Yep. So when you finish it, you clean it out.
Yeah.
And just put it on your mantle next to your pretend Norton hat or whatever you got going on over there. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe worth something one day.
Might be worth something one day. So what you do is you go to silkcityhotsauce.com. Go check out all Aztec Attacks.
Aztec Attack.
Which
I like.
I don't even understand what that means.
Yeah, well,
but they're great hot sauces. And I think just the idea that they have these weird names are intriguing to make you go, I think I'm going to go to silkcityhotsauce.com just to see what other ones, because they have other ones that I'm not remembering. And what you do is you go there. And then when you purchase your hot sauce there, you can just go, give me 400 of these, or there are different packages. And when you're done, and when you're about to do the checkout, there is a little coupon code there. And what you do is you put the 2 letters in the coupon code. And you know what those 2 letters are?
What would they be?
RX.
RX. Exactly. And when you do that, you will get 15% off percentage.
We've got this percentage. Say it again.
You're going to get a 15% percentage off of your order. And then with that, you will get a free bottle of
Cherry Sriracha.
I'm sorry, sir. I couldn't think of the word.
And you're not going to get a bottle of cherry sriracha anymore. They've run out before. So, but
we have to say that.
We have to say that, and we're gonna follow it up by saying you're not getting a free
Until he
bottle
gives
of
something
cherry.
else free.
Until he gives something else free.
And then we'll change it to that.
And that's our pal Kingfish Levinsky.
Oh, the Kingfish.
Yes, the Kingfish. Great guy. And look, you could sit there and worry like, oh, well, is it good?
Hey, well, roll that around your mouth.
That's all you got to do.
do.
And you'll know that it's absolutely delicious. Yes. And don't worry about it. It's homemade. If you're a little concerned,
I've been putting on a little weight lately.
Don't worry about it, all right? It's so funny. So
Heard that in a while.
And if you want to, you know what? It'd be a great gift.
Yes.
Like even if you have friends that are Honeymooners fans that don't listen to the show, and you could get them some of the great, and especially our hot sauce, right?
Oh, yeah.
It'd be a great gift, you know? And listen, if they ask, like, why'd you get it for me? You know why?
It's the most delicious you've ever tasted in your life.
That's why.
That's in your life.
That's all in your
life.
And then let them taste it. And you know what they're going to say?
Hey, this is very good.
Hey,
That was very good.
Mr. Marshall.
You can't lose it.
You can't move as a Marshall. You just
God,
can't.
You can't.
You can't. So do yourself a favor. Go to SoakCityHotSauce.com. And what it does, when you put the RX in the coupon code, not only does it give you the 15% percentage, but it helps them decipher that you got it because of us.
Plus, yep.
And it helps us out.
This helps out a little bit.
Because we're going to be working on maybe
we
getting
need a little help.
We need a little help. Yeah, we're actually working on. We're going to work on maybe doing a little upgrade on the studio because we might want to try. We got some stuff coming down the pike.
Yeah,
is that what it is? Pike or pipe?
Coming down the pike.
Coming down the pike, or it goes down the wrong pipe.
Pipe.
Those are the ones, right?
The wrong pipe. Coming down the pike.
Coming down the pike, going down the wrong pipe.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
I think that's
all
how
right.
it goes.
I think so too. I don't know.
We don't know.
All right. Well, listen. What we have to do is get to our next order of business. All right. So our next order of business. And, of course, last week, our full-grown nut of the week was the one and only Gary Clevenger.
Gary Lynn Clevenger.
Gary Lynn Clevenger, yes.
Joe said,
and Gary,
serial
well-deserved.
Three name letter.
Yes.
Letter.
Oh, yeah.
Three.
Yeah. Our personal serial killer.
Yeah.
And, of course, we have to get into our next order of business, and you know what that is.
Verily.
Kennedy.
The Honeymooners podcast knights the full-grown nut of the week. Aren't you lucky?
It gives me real pleasure to present to you this award.
John Basmagi. Yes, we're not sure if it's the correct pronunciation, but we were going to go with Magi. Magi sounds better.
Yeah.
Sounds like it would sound like more like a last name.
He'll let us know.
He'll let us know. Yeah. Of course he will.
And if he doesn't, Ira will.
But yes, John Basmagi. And I got to tell you something. It wasn't even a question.
No.
Not even a question. Because you know what's funny? It was referred to us.
Yes.
Because we were, listen, John was in the mix.
Yeah.
And we were like, all right, what are we going to do? And then we got the message from one of the elites, Brother Bibbs.
Brother Bibbs.
And he said, without a doubt, John Basmagi has to be the next one. Mm-hmm. And you're like, well, why? Well, first of all, he does all of the things that all the great raccoons do. Yeah. But he also went and did something very, very cool. And he went on one of the Honeymooner pages and put out almost a description of the show done by somebody who listens to the show. And I just wanted to read it to you. I can't see the top part, but obviously he says, this podcast is a regular riot. Just two mokes taking a deep dive on the breadth and depth of the Bensonhurst gang. You'll be amazed at the simplicity of discovering a new lookout on the 67-year-old, my age exactly, classic. Even if you know all the lines, you still need to, quote, get a load of fatso over there and mambo over to Joe and Lou's podcast. It's something new and different, pal. Lock up your string of Peloponnese, clear the field, and roll it around in your mouth. A cracker full of Cramden's delicious mystery appetizer, and get binging. Starting at episode 16. Took them a while. Took a little while to steam their raccoon hats just right. And there's plenty more where that came from. Take it from an original Ralph member. Joe and Louie's show certainly is a riot.
Wow, see that? Now, we presented that to the Board of Nuts.
Yeah.
And actually, there was a tear in their eye.
It brings a tear to my eye and a lump to my throat.
That was from one of the members. That wasn't even from John. That was one of the members.
That was a member.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what's funny? We had one person on the Board of Nuts who actually said,
and once again, I want to thank you.
Is this the man who gets the award?
He actually said that. We were like, what? And he was just kidding. Yeah. And he was like, no, that's just
me.
Just kidding. So if you're John and you're thinking,
what made the judges pick me above all the rest?
You know,
was that letter.
Yeah. The letter put you over the top. Yeah. And I got to tell you, just so everybody knows, that we have a pool of you that we just got to get to.
Yep.
And by the way, they're not.
I knew there was a by the way.
And by the way, they're not all men. Just so you know.
No, we do it by merit. We're meritorious. We do it by merit.
So we got a couple of broads, a couple of dames coming down the pike. The pike. 2 times I'm using that reference for some reason.
I hope it's right.
I hope so. But congratulations, John.
Yes, John.
And well-deserved, of course.
Part of the fraternity now.
Yes. And
and once again, I want to thank you for presenting me with this. And
well, that's what I wanted to thank you. And then, of course, this is you. And I hope that you.
I am humble.
I hope you are humble.
Too, yeah.
That's part of the requirements.
Yeah, it is. You have to. Yeah. Humility is part of the requirement.
What other requirements? Humble.
One must go through.
One must go
through to be full-grown nut of the week.
All right. Oh, I'm knocking things all over the place here. So,
leave it there to Cal again.
All right.
I heard him.
Before while we get started, we wanted to bring up this one thing from Brother Bibbs.
Yes.
A a little tidbit. So Brother Bibbs, and of course, I love when you guys do this, and it's going to be incorporated into the show. Sure. Here's an item. All right, here's an item. It's just going to be part of the show, and you'll know what it is when you hear it.
We're working on it.
We're working on it. Here's an item. Little Jack Little died in April of 1956, just 2 months after Young at Heart was aired. I wonder if he knew they mentioned him because he was still alive.
Yeah,
but pretty interesting little tidbit there from Brother Bibbs. Little Jack Little, 2 months before the episode aired, where they mentioned him, and. Or 2 months afterward. 2 months after.
He died 2 months afterward.
So if he was a fan of the show, he would have been like, hey, get a load of
Fatso there. Mention my name. There you go. Put me in with Basil for me.
Yes, exactly.
And Ice from Jones. And Ted Fiorito.
So, Fiorito. Oh, God. It just doesn't end. It really doesn't. So we want to get into our next little thing here. And we love it because we get to play this.
Yes.
Song is great.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen,
and then, of course,
good evening.
Of course, the voice.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are proud to present Honeymooners Podcast Revisited.
All right. So we're going to do a little Honeymooners Revisited because of last week. All right. And this Revisited is brought to you by Ira from Florida.
Yes.
Well, he's from Brooklyn.
But
Ira.
Kanazi.
And now he's in Florida. He's in Florida. But Ira, because he brought up something, because we talked about the Hucklebuck last week.
Yes.
We were talking about Art Carney was part of it. Like,
was it scripted, staged, ad-libbed?
Right.
And
we kind of came to the conclusion that there were certain things he probably knew he was going to do.
Yeah. Well, there's just like in the song it says to do certain things. So he's trying to listen to the lyric here.
Yeah, listen to the lyrics here. And then of course when he started shaking his hips was the cue for Ralph to say, "No,
I
wait
can't
a minute,
do it.
wait a minute."
Wait a minute. Yeah.
So we got something from Ira, and it's deserved of a revisited because it was from last episode. And I'll read this from Ira. I had no idea. You guys are just great. You guys are great. All right, so he's talking about the Hucklebuck, and he says, this song came out in 1949. So it wasn't like Ralph and Norton were some cool hep cats dancing to it in 1956. In addition, there was an outcry about the sexual nature of this dance when it first came out. Read this wiki description here, and I'll read just a little part of it. Dance craze. The Hucklebuck became wildly successful dance craze in 1949, partly due to its sexual connotations. Leroy Jones report that people danced at rent parties in Newark night after night until they dropped. And they go through, and actually, as I'm reading it, I'm sitting there, and most of the moves were what Art Carney was doing.
Yeah, as I said, he was, following the lyric.
He was following what the lyricist said. I'll read a little bit. The basic dance has been described as having a double point with the feet to the side of each, to the side on each side, 4 counts. Then a lift and twist of the leg and small kick.
He
was doing that.
He does that.
Then a shimmy, hip gyration. The dance could get very sexual in nature when done as a couple dance, with the male dancing behind the female, one hand on her waist and hip and the other on her shoulder, gyrating the hips in unison with shocking variations such as like female dancers. You get the whole point of it. And now when you think about it, he was doing the Hucklebuck.
He was doing the Hucklebuck.
He was doing it.
Yeah.
And then of course, so it even kind of adds to what we were talking about. He knew the dance.
Yeah. Now the interesting thing about this is at 49 it came out. Right? It said
yes,
49.
1949.
55, 56, whenever that one aired. They made it sound like they never heard of it. So you would think, and all
which
of us
goes
never,
to what he says. They're cats. They never even heard of it.
Right. But the thing is, you would think
that they would
have heard of it, and we're thinking, not knowing we're not of that generation,
right?
That it was a dance from 1955, 56.
Exactly.
K-Star did it. Somebody said that's not K-Star's version. Somebody, I believe, I don't know if we mentioned this last week, somebody said that they believe that's Connie Francis singing that. So, I don't know. I don't know. I thought that maybe they're just building it up, and they're fine. They built it up, in their way that they do things.
Right.
But you would think if it was from '49 that they would have heard of it, and they made it sound like it was contemporary.
But that, I think, is what makes it funny. Again, the joke is, hey, how about this one?
Yeah.
This always was good for me.
Always good for me.
And he's trying to be a hepcat.
Right.
And he looks like a complete moron.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he doesn't look like maybe he looks like what a guy looks like in 1955.
Yeah.
And then he finds a song that's 7 years
Years old. But he said this was always good for me. So maybe he did know of the Hucklebuck.
Maybe
and Ralph
he did. And Ralph didn't.
Because he's doing, the hesitation waltz.
Yeah.
Whatever you do.
The hesitation
walks. The Big Apple.
The Big Apple.
The Big Apple.
Right. The Charleston in the other version. The other episode he mentioned the Charleston. So again, maybe
Susie
that
Q.
even made it even more funny. Yeah, the Susie Q. So again, it goes to that whole thing where they're trying to be hip, but they're doing, because let's face it, there's dances out right now that if you mention and you say, hey, I got this new dance, and you do something from 7 years ago, you're going to be looked at from the young kids as, you're not cool.
You're not cool, really.
What are you doing? That was from 7 years ago.
I'm doing like the lambada or something.
Yes. So that is a great revisited
yes.
that we got from Ira.
Yep.
So we appreciate that. Now we're going to do another segment. You probably it's probably fresh in your mind.
Yeah, you just heard that song.
You just want to hear David.
We gotta hear it again.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are proud to present Honeymooners Podcast Revisited.
All right. Hey, we got a new bit here. It's called Revisited.
Revisit it.
Okay. And this is a Revisited that I came up with from last week.
Yeah.
And we were talking about, you brought up the phone numbers.
Yes.
And it was our controversy.
It's controversy. Louis' observation, controversy.
Controversy, yes, that's what it was. Excuse me.
Dusty on that hall.
Yeah, we haven't had one of them.
No, really. Yes. We've been good.
I've been good.
You've been good, yeah.
And so we were talking about the two phone numbers.
Yeah.
And the one was 0098, and the other one was
55598.
5598.
Right.
And I kind of wanted to revisit to say, here's the interesting thing that I noticed. We both realized it; they both ended in 98. But the number before, the two numbers before, were both double-digit numbers.
Right.
One was 00, one was 55. Now, I'm guessing that, because we were saying that maybe Art Carney messed the number up.
We don't know.
We don't know. And in reality, I mean, it didn't matter.
It didn't matter. It's
None
just
of it
a phone
mattered.
number. People aren't-
But I also think that the reason why it was either 00 or 55, it's easier to remember.
Yeah.
Think about it. If you have to remember four numbers, isn't it easier to remember three numbers?
Yeah.
And all you got to do is say the first one twice.
Yep.
So it's like 5598 or 5498. That's another number you have to say instead of just going 5598.
Yeah.
When we do numbers like that, when there's two numbers, we always blew through them real quick.
Right, really.
What's your number? 552
Yeah.
6555.
55.
Whatever.
Alexander 44. Having a custom. We'll talk about that one day.
But so I found it interesting that both numbers, even though they were different, they ended with the same two numbers, but they both had a double digit in front of it, which might have been, that's why they used it for the one, and that's why they used it for the other one, to make it easier to remember. Even though nobody was going to say, he messed up the phone number.
Like, you're not going to script it. Like, you only just Art Carney just blurting out numbers.
Right.
And it didn't matter.
Yeah, and they
those
would
numbers
never
could have
know
been significant to him. Now,
yeah,
we were talking about this before. We also noticed that these numbers weren't dubbed over.
Yes.
Like Bensonhurst 0.
Yes.
7741. Dubbed over because they said, what, people were calling the number?
Correct.
When-
Because it was a number that was in service. And
So,
people were calling
calling
it,
it.
so they had to overdub it.
Yeah.
I don't know when they did that.
Yeah.
Because I think it was the same actors. It sounded like
it's
Audrey.
Alice. Yeah,
That
it's
was
Alice.
Audrey.
Yeah, it's Audrey.
That was
It's
Audrey.
doing it, yeah.
And so it ended up being that they never dubbed over
They were
these
dubbed
numbers.
over.
So they must have been numbers that were never
No, not, probably not, like you said, not in service.
not in service. And back then, we didn't have every person didn't have at least one line,
Yeah.
and then a cell phone.
Yeah, like, oh, God, yeah.
And a fax machine if it was 1980s.
Yeah. I'm going to get one of them.
You gonna get a fax machine?
Yeah.
All right, good. Make sure you get a dictaphone to go with it
dictaphone too.
A dictaphone to go with it. But yeah, that's our little another little revisited we just wanted to bring up.
Put it next to my mimeograph.
Now I forgot to do this, Lou, and I'll do it now. I forgot to do the voicemail.
Oh yeah,
We got a voicemail, and I see this guy a lot on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely worthy of raccoondom for sure. And but I've never heard his voice or never really talked to him one-on-one. But quick little voicemail, and here it is.
You rang, sir.
You rang.
Hey, folks. This is Nisha Jiva. I just want to say you guys have an awesome Honeymooners podcast. I just checked out episode 104 with the Grand High Exalted Mystic Ruler, Mr. Morris Fink. And I'm a little hungry, so I think tonight I'm going to have some Crandon's delicious Marshall. But no, awesome podcast. And keep up the great work. I think both of you deserve to be raccoons of the year.
Thank you.
And I look forward to the next installment.
I wonder if I'm worthy of such an honor.
In the world, the Honeymooners podcast.
Yeah.
And away we go. Thanks, fellas. Take care. Bye now.
Thanks, pal.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. And you know what I like about...
I want to thank you, and you,
and you.
you.
It's Nijwa. I think it's Nijwa, right?
Okay, yeah, I think so.
Jiva. But I think it's a longer name. And I think he's like an Indian dude.
Mm-hmm.
I think he might have not been born there, but he's like me. Maybe his parents were born there. And how cool is that? I think that's awesome.
Yeah, great.
Like,
Great.
you know, he'd probably been here his whole life.
Yeah.
But when you think of Honeymooner fans, you don't think of like some guy, especially from anybody who might be very ethnic looking, especially from another country.
Right.
So I think it's awesome.
Great.
And I don't know where he's from, but good voicemail. He's very chill, I'll tell you that right now.
It's chill.
He sounds like a guy I don't want to meet in an alley somewhere. He sounds like a real tough guy. But thank you, bro. We appreciate it, man, and we appreciate it. He's always chiming in on Facebook and putting his 2 cents in. Chime. And so now we're going to get into our next thing. And this is from our pal, Chris Fodor.
Chris Fodor. Yeah.
Okay. Chris, here's an item. Of course.
What else have you started with?
Love to use an item. I was watching Brother Ralph recently. Oh, you know what? I am going to give him the treatment because he's doing one of our bits. So I'm going to give him the treatment.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This deserves and we haven't done this in a while. And it is
so old it's off the board.
Right. Yep.
Oh, this is a good one too.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Our pal
The Honeymooners podcast presents Whatever Happened To. The boys go deep into their shallow minds and try to imagine what would have happened to certain situations in the show if the episode had a to be continued or a part 2. Yeah, I know. Joe and Louie need real jobs. And now here's Whatever Happened To.
Thank you, Joe Fernandez.
Oh, the great Joe Fernandez.
The great Joe Fernandez.
With an S.
Check Joe Fernandez out. Great pal and a great comedian. And that's Joe Fernandez with an S at the end. All right, here we go. From Chris Fodor. Hey, guys. I was watching Brother Ralph recently, and I noticed a potential whatever happened to. When Tony Amico arrives, the table is set for dinner. But in the next scene, Alice and Tony are working at the table. So I'm wondering, whatever happened to the spaghetti, lima beans, mashed potatoes, and hot dogs? Did they eat them before the work began? Did Tony Amico partake in the feast? Were there any leftovers? And I wonder about that, too.
Yeah.
Tony, being Tony Amico, would have probably enjoyed the spaghetti.
Yeah, probably. That's probably the only part.
He probably would have been a little schkivotes about the hot dogs and the lima beans
and the mashed potatoes. Spaghetti,
Mixed in with the spaghetti. Hey, Ralph, that spaghetti, it's like this, and it should be like this. But
Ralph,
very good.
Your sister's a great cook.
Yeah. You think I can get her to cook for me? I love the screaming.
Oh, the screaming in the bedroom? They need to.
So funny.
Oh, God, it's
the
great.
up and down.
She's not ready yet.
You don't really hear what they're exactly saying.
It's just
which
muddled.
Is
It's just muddled.
Fantastic.
She's not ready yet.
Absolutely. Yeah, comes back. She's not ready yet. She's not as pretty as she looks. Yeah, and he goes, "Yeah, all you brothers say that about your sisters. Really? My sister, she's a dog. Nobody's. Yeah, my sister, she's pretty. It doesn't mean you think you have any feelings. It's just my sister, she's pretty. Yeah, all you guys think your sisters are ugly. It's great. Thank you, Chris. Definitely worthy
of such an honor.
Of such an honor. And Chris is actually one of our part of the fraternity.
Full-grown nut.
Yeah, he's a full-grown nut. You know what? Our full-grown nuts, we are up
how
to
many
18,
have on that
19,
list?
20, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're up to 24. 24.
Wow.
Because we didn't start until like 86 or something like that.
Yeah.
So we're up to 24 full-grown nuts fraternity.
That's a lot.
It is
Think
a lot.
about that. That's a lot.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe a couple I want to take them off the list.
I didn't think we had 24 people that listen to this thing. That's the shocking part for me.
Oh, all right. Well, let's get into it's one of my favorite things that we do on this show, and I think you guys all know, and that is
playing intros.
From the observation deck overlooking the Johnson Building at 328 Chauncey Street, the Honeymooners podcast presents Louie's Observation.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Louie, what were you doing that got you into noticing this observation?
I was preparing my opening. Like where I get all my stuff from.
He was preparing.
I was preparing my opening.
Yeah, he was preparing his opening, and
I said, "Hey,
hey,
very good,
very good." That's so fun. I love that. Hey.
Hey, this is very good.
I love that.
Hey,
Hey.
this is very good.
Oh my God,
that's so funny. Marshall
Oh,
is the
man.
best.
Hey, this is very good.
Stuff is great. What's this one here? Wait a minute.
Hey, that was great. Very good.
He does that too. That's Tebbets, right?
Tebbets or Peck?
Peck or Tebbets. One of them. One of them
guys.
Yeah, exactly. So, Louie's observation was from the iconic scene.
Oh.
Drink, if you're playing the game, of course, and it's the blabbermouth.
The blabbermouth scene.
Now, we all know, I mean, even people who are, DEFCON 1s and 2s, they obviously know this.
Joe, it's one of the things iconic.
Yeah.
I have to use that word again.
Drink.
It's like we got down a few. It's like the 111 blabber. I think, to me, it's the definitive one.
I think so.
I think blabbermouth
I think stands alone.
Yes, it does.
I think it stands alone. I mean, they even in the last 5, whatever, like 7 years ago, they put it where he was calling Trump a blabbermouth, and now they did it with Biden. And that's how popular
that
it is.
Everybody knows that.
Everybody knows that.
Everybody knows. You don't even have to be, like you said, DEFCON 1.
Absolutely.
You know blabbermouth.
Exactly. And even there was a bunch of podcasts ago, we played that hip hop song from the 90s.
Oh, that's Joe Piscopo, I believe.
No,
not that one.
An actual hip hop artist where they used blabbermouth
in it,
in the way he does it, like it was an homage to Jackie, because he goes blah blah blah, and you're a blabbermouth, and he did it just like him. So it was even in hip hop, blabbermouth.
Just known everybody.
Yeah,
everybody knows
it without a doubt. If that's one, what do you think would be like 2 or 3? Is it the
111 and Harvey?
But see, I think you're going a little too. I think. Well, do you think like Bang Zoom?
Yeah, Bangs. Yeah, we'd have to say Bang Zoom. It doesn't necessarily spotlight one thing, like one scene. It's just it's this thing they used all the time. It's a repetitive thing.
Correct.
But they
you're
the
right.
Bang Zoom, and people always say that. How many people say it to you? Bang Zoom to the moon.
Right, which he never said.
He never said it, but you'll hear that all the time.
You know what? This is a good question for our nuts.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll put it out there.
Right.
The, say, top 5 most popular,
recognizable
either
line
or scene or something.
Yeah.
And Blabbermouth, I think you're right.
I think
is
it's number one.
I think
it's
it
number
is.
one.
Yeah, because like you said, Bang Zoom is something that the show was known for. But it's not like this one moment.
Right.
Nobody's going to say, "Oh, Bang Zoom."
Right.
It was this
like
is the
say,
one
like,
moment.
My pal Harvey, my friend Harvey.
My friend Harvey.
That's another one.
Yeah, that's another one too. And we're not. And right now, we're not in mode to think of.
No, because
we're in the middle of doing this, so we're not going to. So let's.
Yeah. We'll hold off. We'll hold off.
But I want to ask them.
Throw it out there.
Absolutely, this will probably be their question, and I'll word it correctly. But what do you think is the top 3?
Just give us 3.
Let's give us 3, and if you want to put Blabbermouth in it too, go ahead, put Blabbermouth in it because I think it's without a doubt
number one. I think
okay, so we're gonna go and we're gonna play a little bit of the scene, and we're gonna talk over it.
Yeah.
But we're gonna get to this one part. And we're just gonna have fun with this scene anyway because it's it's Blabbermouth.
It's Blabbermouth.
And Ethel Owens.
Oh, Ethel Owens is phenomenal in this. She's phenomenal.
And then and I love the way he kind of hits her in the arm.
Oh, in the arm. He like kind of misses her.
He misses her, yeah.
I wish you didn't live so far from the subway.
Oh, Mother, it's only 3 blocks.
Yeah,
3 long blocks. But I suppose you can't do any better with a rent that you can afford.
Now, stop it there, Joe. I know why you stopped it. Okay. Ralph has a deck of cards. Now, first of all, they're playing. They always mention cards. They played gin and rummy that time, and they mentioned pinochle. Right. So Ralph, they're card players. They're always playing at the club. Poker, Mahjong, Trixie upstairs. They're playing Mahjong and Trixie. Poker. So they're card players.
Yes.
But we've never seen a deck of cards
except for them when they're playing gin.
Right. So this is Ralph. Just picks his deck of cards, and it's when you think about this. The writers, this is genius to put that prop in there and put this prop to use.
Yeah,
because Ralph is sitting there, he's not saying a word,
nothing. Because
he said, and before the scene, it won't take me to start an argument. Dusty on that hall. And he gives the 3-minute thing.
Yep.
She won't be here 3 minutes. Right. She'll start it. That's basically what Ralph's saying. She'll start it without me saying a word.
Right. Because when you think about the great things that are going on in this scene, one is Ethel Owen.
Oh,
she's the centerpiece of this scene.
She's phenomenal.
His frustration is there.
Yep.
The clock
is there. We've never seen the clock in the kitchen. It's probably the same bedroom clock with the Norton sleepwalking.
The clock is amazing. But the thing that we don't really notice, and I think most non, not like us, but
normal people,
the deck of cards.
The deck of cards was brilliant.
Absolutely brilliant.
Because you could see it when he really shuffles them, like when she just said that, and he shuffled them real loud so everybody hears it.
Yeah.
It's like Ralph expressing himself through a deck of cards without saying a word. He's got great, of course, his facial expressions are
fantastic.
Fantastic, because he's Gleason.
Yeah.
But the deck of cards is such an important prop.
You know what it is? Scene. It's not a prop. It is a character in this scene.
It's actually,
it's that, the clock, Ralph, mother-in-law, and Alice.
And the deck of cards.
They are all characters in this scene.
Yeah.
It's absolutely great.
All right. Okay. You want to hear?
Now, your sister only
I want to hear that.
Oh, Mother, it's only 3 blocks.
3 long blocks. But I suppose you can't do any better with a rent that you can afford.
The cards.
Your sister only lives a half a block walks in the subway. Well, that's one of the advantages of having a husband that's a good provider.
That's great, too.
That's great, yeah.
I have some coffee on. Would you like some?
Oh, that'd be nice, dear. Yes, thank you. Alice, you look thin.
Great.
Are you getting enough to eat?
Oh.
Now, you know what's funny?
I am, Mother.
He gives a look of frustration.
Frustration.
Now, I think the character Ralph is frustrated just because she's not minding her own business.
No.
It's not like he's like, oh, here comes a fat joke.
Yeah.
It's just, really? My wife's getting a little thin. Really? Is that what you're doing? And then, of course.
And it is a fat joke.
And it is a fat joke.
You wouldn't say that if you could see our food bill.
Well, I don't doubt the bills are high. But how much of the food are you getting?
Again, with the slap of the... And you know what's... You know what's great, too? His hair is completely disheveled.
Yeah.
So it's very oily.
Yeah.
I guess he threw a lot of oil in there.
Yeah.
And it's completely disheveled.
Kind of almost looks like the hiccup hair. Remember the hiccup
Oh,
hair?
yeah, the hiccup hair. Yeah.
Oh, and he's running out of the bedroom, too, in TV or not TV.
Right.
Hair, the little disheveling of his hair.
Exactly. It almost looks like he just woke up. He's got, like, bed hair.
Yeah,
whatever
bed
they
hair.
call it.
Yeah. Like the Brill cream.
It just adds to it.
Yeah.
It just adds to this.
Feel just fine.
Well, I hope so. My goodness, a little food is the least you can get out of marriage. Oh, by the way.
It's almost as good as me.
I knew there was going to be a bite away somewhere.
Who? Chester Barnes. Oh, you remember Chester, that nice boy that was so crazy about you.
Yeah, how is he?
Oh, he's fine. He's just fine. Oh, and he's handsomer than ever. Oh, my dear. And he's so tall and slim. I guess a man doesn't...
Now, I think we might have touched up on this.
Yeah.
When she said he's tall and slim. The audience laughs like it's a punchline, and it's really the setup.
Yeah.
But it's so obvious what she's doing.
Where she's
that
going.
They already know it.
Where she's
and
going.
they're laughing because they're like, she's so tall and slim. And Ralph, he might have been somewhat tall, but
he was.
But obviously, and it's just great because they laugh before she does the punchline.
Joe, what do you think about the part where she stops and repeats herself? I guess a man does it.
Yeah,
I guess a man does it.
She stopped because they laughed.
I know they laughed.
She's a pro.
Yeah, she just went.
She knew what she was doing. She knew what she was doing.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I
was
was saying she's just. Do you think she should have went through with it, or?
That's a good
I
question.
kind of think she should have went through with it.
Maybe she was thinking that if she said it, maybe she didn't realize how much they were going to laugh.
Yeah,
that it was going to.
that could be it,
It was
but-
going to muffle the actual punchline. But her voice was so great and loud, and it just echoed. It wouldn't have been a problem.
Yeah, no.
But we obviously understand what she was.
I know what she doing, but I think she should have went through with it.
And it would have been fine.
It would have been fine.
It would have been fine. Yep, absolutely. Here we go.
And he's so tall and slim. I guess a man doesn't...
They really laugh.
A man doesn't have to get fat if he doesn't want to.
Yeah.
Oh, we had a nice long chat. You know, he's so charming. You know, of all the boys that you brought to our house, he's the only one that I had any use for.
Mother, now come on, drink your coffee. Ralph, would you...
Now, I will say, when everybody always says, well, Alice never... she never defended Ralph. And, obviously, the writers. But she was trying to get her off of that subject.
She's like,
come on, have your
coffee.
So,
coffee.
they at least had her try to, in the writing, which was great. But still, and just at that moment, you see him. He looks back down. He doesn't make a sound with the clock, but he looks down. At the
Keeps
clock.
on looking at it.
Keeps on looking at it. And yeah, here we go.
Like some?
What's the matter with him?
Nothing's the matter with...
What do you think is the matter with him?
You.
It's you.
You're the matter with him.
You've been ripping on him as soon as he walked in.
The door, and he hasn't said a word to you.
He has not caused and has not instigated anything. What's the matter with
you?
him? I don't know. You insulted his weight. You insulted his financials,
financial situation,
and his home.
His home, everything.
Yeah, everything.
She got 3.
I mean, I don't know what else you could do.
Yeah.
What else you
short
could
period of time? She got 3 zingers.
She got exactly. All about different things.
Different things. 3 separate things.
Fantastic. It's so
It's a great
fantastic.
scene. We're not even talking about the blabbermouth
I know.
part.
I know.
It's like-
It's the lead up to it.
Joe, this is what happens though when you have scenes like blabbermouth.
Yeah.
I guess there's people out there who are just waiting for it. And you're not
and
even
we were those people.
We were those people at one point.
We were.
We weren't paying attention to what preceded that.
Yeah.
Now, because of this podcast, we're
all
looking at what preceded the Blabbermouth, because we know Blabbermouth.
Yeah.
What led up to Blabbermouth?
Right. Exactly.
And this is what we're getting here. This is why we're going over this.
Yeah. Exactly.
And this is what this podcast is all about. What we're doing right now.
Exactly. You're 100% right. That's it, folks. We're done.
We're done. Okay.
We're not doing another podcast.
We're done. We're not even skipping
that
the
really
trivia.
does. That really does sum it up.
It does sum it up.
Everything.
That was our intent when we first started this. It took 14 episodes to get there, but it was our intent.
Yeah.
With the small details.
The small details.
That's what this is all about. The small. All right, go ahead, roll it.
All right, here we go.
With him, Mother. Oh, Ralph has got tickets for a Broadway show tonight. He's going with Ed Norton.
Ed Norton? Doesn't he know he's got a wife?
Okay, now that was the original thing that you came up with.
Okay.
This was the Louis observation. If you
this
forgot what we were,
forgot
what this whole thing was
This
about.
is the observation. Joe, run it a little bit more.
Okay.
Just run it a little bit more.
I'll go back just a
go back and
here we go.
And we'll run it.
He's going with Ed Norton.
Ed Norton? Doesn't he know he's got a wife?
Mother, Ralph asked me to go with him first, but I couldn't because you were coming over to spend the evening. Anyway, it's a wonderful show. It's called Murder Strikes.
Okay.
Okay. This is the observation.
Gotcha.
When she says to him, Ralph asked me, but you were coming over. No reaction from the mother. As
None.
she should have said,
Right.
Alice, you should have told me I wouldn't have come over tonight.
Right. But then what she would have said was, well, he just told me 10 minutes before
ago.
he got
Right.
here. But that would have at least alleviated the fact that he doesn't do anything for her.
Right.
Right.
That was, and her face is just like stone. It's a stone face,
Right.
no reactions, as if to
Correct.
say, Alice, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, she could have said, Mother, well, it was Ralph let me know too late.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. And then she said, oh, Alice, I'm so sorry. Nothing. Nothing from the mother.
Nothing.
Absolute nothing. Her face doesn't change.
No.
Nothing.
Yep.
And she just goes right into her.
Right into
the go through you, hello, stupid.
Here we go. All right, we're getting to it. We're getting to it.
But that's the actual.
That was the actual
observation, right?
but
There
we
was
just
Alice's mother's lack of reaction.
Yeah,
to saying like, I'm not even feeling bad. She doesn't even feel bad.
No. Yeah, her character does not know how to feel bad.
No, she doesn't.
I think she's a narcissist myself.
Oh, mother-in-law of mine.
She's a malignant narcissist, this woman, for sure. All right, here we go.
Oh, that. Oh, I had a neighbor, Mrs. Finley. She saw it. She didn't think much of it.
Really? It was supposed to be such a big hit. The paper said it's a very exciting mystery.
Oh, the papers, that's just a lot of publicity. All that to do about chills and suspense. And that nonsense about don't tell your friends the surprise ending. Well, it was no...
Why is that nonsense? First of all, it's very clever to say don't tell anybody the ending. It's called spoilers now. Now we do it all the time. Be like, no spoilers. Or in the bottom of IMDb, spoilers. Why would that be so...
But how would nobody... This is a Broadway show. It's running every day, twice on Sunday. How would nobody ever know the ending?
Yeah.
It's got to be all over the place.
Right, exactly.
In the review, if they're making Broadway reviews or whatever, or whatever was in Earl Wilson's column that day.
And, of course, it's easier to keep that a little bit of a secret back then.
Yeah, because there's no social media.
Right, exactly.
But word of mouth,
Yeah, but of course, if I was telling you, Lou, you got to watch this movie, I wouldn't tell you, oh, by the way, at the end, Kevin Spacey is Kaiser Soze.
Yeah.
Sorry to spoil you, everybody.
No.
Movie from 1995. So
I wanted to watch that one.
But, so it's kind of funny. It's just, everything about her is just
great.
Oh, she's just fantastic. Here we go. And throughout the whole thing, of course, when you're watching it, his facial expressions.
You got to watch him.
This is great.
That's because he can do a character just with facial expressions.
Yeah. Well, he did. He made that movie, right? Which I want to see. I heard it's a very...
Gigot.
Gigot?
Yeah, Gigot.
Did you ever see it?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
It's good till the end. It gets really stupid.
Okay.
But it's just to watch him.
Yeah.
Just watching him is...
At the end, did you actually say hello, stupid?
Yeah.
Since you got stupid?
I threw in a few hello, stupids. Yeah.
Okay. Here we go.
Oh, surprise to Mrs. Finley.
Oh, boy.
She said she knew all the time that it wasn't the uncle who committed the murder. It was the husband.
Oh, his face. And the
clock goes off.
You are a blabbermouth. A blabbermouth. You blabbermouth. Out.
This is my favorite part. There it is. I love the second out.
When she does like that. Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, I've had enough.
Oh, right there. That's it. That's the one.
I'm going home. Oh.
Good. I got to walk 3 long blocks to the subway. Good.
You know, it's great. You watch her and the face she gives when she's on her way out.
Yeah.
And she turns around like she's going to say something. And she was like, whoa, because he's coming at. It's just fantastic.
His face, just saying blabbermouth.
Yeah.
There is no one else on earth that could do that but him.
No.
Just the way his mouth moves, and I think just being a little, slightly overweight.
Slightly overweight, right. Yeah. Which,
Helps.
by the way, always, I think, helps in anything where he's being physical.
Yeah.
Because he is doing things. It's like watching like these big 330-pound linemen just running around like ballerinas, some of these guys. He was kind of doing the same thing in the art world.
Yeah.
And the way he just jumps up and that movement, it's just powerful. And the
his
facial expressions.
just delivering the
then
word
the voice.
blabbermouth.
Yeah.
You see the way he opens his mouth and closes his mouth, blabbermouth, and his...
Yeah.
Oh, he's only like I said, he's the only guy on earth that ever in the history of mankind. He's the only guy that could do that.
Yeah. It's just amazing. It's just so great.
Oh my
And you know what
God.
it does? Because of this podcast, this scene is 10 times funnier.
Yeah.
Because before this, we're watching the clock. The clock is the big deal.
Yeah.
And some of his expressions, but it's pretty much him and the clock. And now when we watch, and when I mean we, I mean all of us. Everybody, all you guys and gals, is that we also see what Alice is doing. And Alice is playing the good part of, she's perfect, almost background, perfect to just be there for any of whatever's going on, to almost be like there to bounce off of, because she's bouncing off of Ethel Owen. And it's just, and then of course the explosion at the end.
Yes. Oh. And when she does that, when she's ready to leave, and it's just like that oomph, that part, like
with the head back,
start,
like
that startle,
yeah.
Like when he
yes,
that last one when he gives her, and she just she kind of looks like startled, as she's walking out.
Yep. Yes, exactly. And I like the one part where it's like almost like, well, I never with the head.
With the head. Oh, it's never. And the thing about it, Joe, I'm sure everyone out there, or a majority of our 7 listeners, have actually timed this scene.
Yes. Oh, I bet you 90%.
I bet you almost have it.
Or I bet you 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10. Right? I think it's even higher than that.
It's higher than
that. Bibbs has probably got to tell like the 100th second. Because I got like 2:51.
Right. Yeah.
Which is good, because he said basically 3 minutes. It won't take her 3 minutes. I think
the whole scene is 3 minutes and 39 seconds.
Yeah, 39 seconds. So it won't.
The whole scene.
So it's basically saying it won't take her 3 minutes, and they got it down to 2:51. That's my number.
Yeah.
I'm probably off, but give or take, a couple seconds.
Yep.
And they got it.
Yeah.
He said 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was.
And to think about the writing for that. Oh. To have it to be close. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's close enough. I mean, nobody. It's not like it was 3 minutes, and then they do that a lot in movies. Like, all right, in 10 minutes we're going to do it, and then 4 minutes later it's happening.
Yeah.
This was almost exactly to it.
Joe, could you imagine looking at the script and it says, Ralph calls mother-in-law a blabbermouth, and then they probably didn't know how Gleason was going to take this. And because it got to be, there's nobody directing him on how to say blabbermouth.
Yeah, and Ethel Owen to respond
like she did, just sitting there taking it, in this like shocked look on her face.
Yep.
So that's
they probably told her, said, "Look, you whatever," and then you
Yeah.
and then maybe just well, I've had enough.
yeah,
whatever.
And he's going to shout at you again, and
Yeah.
then you just give like a ooh, like one of them,
Right.
one of them things.
Yeah.
But this is probably Gleason. I would just love to see that
Oh.
in the first rehearsl when he actually did it. If
Yeah.
he did rehearse, so I would love to have seen him the first time. Well, listen, I'm going to do it like this, Ethel.
Right. How great would it have been watching one of the dress rehearsals when it was the guy who was standing in
Standing
for
in
Ralph,
front of him, like saying,
and he's got his notes out. He's like, "You are a blabbermouth. Blabbermouth. Out.
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 Well, I never.
Out. How was that? Good? Okay, was I standing in the right spot?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
good.
good.
Fantastic.
So that was what makes that scene.
Oh, it's just fantastic.
The most iconic scene.
Oh,
from
my
Honey.
goodness.
How do you pick out one scene from the Great 39? But
This
that
would
gets
be-
my vote. It gets my vote. You know?
Probably just because of not only because of how great it is, but because how iconic it is.
Right. See, because we're not talking, Joe, here. What's your favorite scene?
No.
We're talking iconic scene, whether you don't even like it or not.
It's like, Lou, who's your favorite baseball player, and who do you think is the greatest baseball player of all time?
Forget it.
Going to be two different people.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, without doubt. Especially if it's a Yankee.
Definitely Yankee. Yeah. No, I am a Babe Ruth guy. I have
You
to
do like
oh,
okay,
love Ruth.
yeah,
Love
yeah.
Ruth.
Well, how do you not like Babe
Oh, yeah, gotta love Babe Ruth.
All right.
Guy ate hot dogs and drank beer. How does he not like this guy? And he hit a home run.
All right. Well,
no, but I'm saying that's the point, though, Joe. It doesn't have to be your favorite.
No.
But it is.
You
the
have
most
to
You
recognize
have to exactly. Good word. You have to recognize this as the most iconic honeymoon scene that a majority of people know.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. Blabbermouth. That's all you have to say.
You know, it's Blabbermouth. Like I said, when we talk 111, Harvey. Mambo.
Yep.
So there you go. But Blabbermouth to me, number one.
Yeah.
Most recognizable.
Absolutely. Because it's not just the word, it's a scene.
Oh, it's a scene. And you
like
just,
we said, you know, even What a Grouch, how much they use
Yeah.
What a Grouch. It's not correlated to a scene.
No.
Yeah, it's just great.
Oh, man.
All right. We have done a very, very nice show. I think this has been very fun, but it's not done yet. We have to do Louie's 13th favorite thing to do on the show.
13.
Yeah, it's fun. It's getting
Taylor
better.
Swift's favorite number.
And you guys know what that is. See how our timing is.
And now, Tom, who is our first guest, please?
Oh,
Our
very good.
first guest, ready to leap the first hurdle on his way to the $99,000 answer, is our
Comedian from Australia, Joe Conti.
Australia.
I want to see the expression on your face when you miss it.
Oh, she is still
she's-
on fire.
she
She's
won't
still.
get out of
yeah,
this
she
scene.
came back in.
Yeah, came back in the door.
So
She said, "I'd never," but I guess she.
that
didn't mean
never. You mean never? Not never.
Not never.
All right. What do we got?
Oh, it's prepared by.
Oh, Professor Walter
Oh,
Newman.
they are,
of course.
And we say he just survives on hot sauce. He was looking for his free bottle of cherry sriracha.
Yeah.
I said, Walt, sorry.
Sorry.
The Kingfisher ain't making him anymore. He says, well, that's false advertising. Okay, Joe. Here's the trivia. Wait a minute. What night of the week does Norton take Ralph on a tour of the Kosciuszko Street sewer?
Thursday?
Thursday.
Is it Thursday?
Yes, it is Thursday.
Wow. I like that.
Thursday on this show.
Thursday.
Yes. Now.
Oh, wait a minute. We got another question here?
No, not another question, but just a follow-up to it.
Oh, okay.
You know, we say like they're not sometimes things don't flow in the show and they lose track of things. And,
Right.
And which is funny because the previous night, you know, when he was doing the sleepwalking thing, it was, well, what did he eat tonight? We eat what he always eats on Wednesday night.
Right.
So, and I looked, I said, oh, they said Wednesday and they actually used Thursday as the next night because they're not consistent that way.
They never, yeah.
They never
yeah. When you're trying to write and you got Gleason breathing down your neck to
yeah.
make sure you guys got good jokes,
Yeah.
they don't really care about continuity.
Yeah, it was a continuity thing, too. So it
Was
went
right
from
on.
Wednesday night to
Thursday
night.
Yeah, because
So
potato pancakes,
Potato
right?
pancakes is Wednesday, and chicken chow mein and potato pancakes Wednesday night. And he goes, oh, yeah, what's tonight? Thursday night.
Thursday night.
The time he gives me a tour to Kosciuszko
That's a
Street
very
sewer.
good point.
So
That's a very
so
good
that was
point.
good. I just noticed that.
You know what that is? No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I was going to do a Louis observation. I'm just kidding. Oh, wow. Very good.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That was a good one.
All right. Well, listen, I think that kind of does it here. Episode 106. First of all, who do we want to thank? We want to thank Silk City Hot Sauce for being our sponsor at SilkCityHotSauce.com. All of you guys who listen, all of you full-grown nuts within the fraternity and not in the fraternity yet.
Soon to be
in the fraternity. All of you, we thank you. We appreciate all of you guys who comment on Facebook and some of you special pals. And if you want, we would love for you to share with some of your friends on social media some of our clips.
Joe, just speaking of social media.
Go ahead.
When you posted last week, when you were waiting for me in the studio,
right?
The responses you got were absolutely off the wall, hysterical.
Remind me next week. We'll read some of them.
We have to read some of them.
Okay.
You guys were...
They're just...
You had me laughing.
Yeah.
You had me laughing.
Yes.
The responses...
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
They were hilarious.
I forgot. They could only come from people like you.
Yeah. Yep.
They were phenomenal.
Yeah, they were great.
I was planning on coming in late again this week. So Joe's going to read... Joe, make a note of that. Jot it down.
Yeah. Write it down on a piece of paper. Share with your friends some of our videos or even just episodes that you think are great that somebody would like. We would really appreciate it. And if you want to check out any of my social media, it's Joe Conti Comic, pretty much on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And I think that's it. So episode 106 in the books. For me and Louis, we say we'll see you next time.
E pluribus raccoonum. Night all.
Good night.
Good
Thank
night.
you. Good night.
We'll have to do this again real soon.
How about tomorrow night?
This has been a non-productive media presentation. Executive producer, Frank Hablawi. This program and many others like it on the Non-Productive Network is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives license. Please share it, but ask before trying to change it or sell it. For more information, visit non-productive.com.